Dropbear and Panda.
Save the world.
Episode
47.
Yeah. It's a special episode
Special episode.
with Badger.
Special Badger.
That's right. So this episode is all about Badger going to Russia.
Yeah.
He was our very first guest on our very first podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to dive into that a little bit.
Dive it hard.
Yeah, figure out why
Why?
he's going to go live there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he liked it so much he bought the country.
What a nutball.
It's true. What else is happening this week before we jump right into the Badger episode? Oh, and just a quick note before we really get started, and that's that our sock jingle from Rob Mitchelson, the Dylan-esque folk ballad, is not quite ready for this week's show, but watch for it coming soon. Yeah.
The biggest news that has happened in Canada this week.
That's right.
Some dinosaurs destroyed some warriors.
Warriors.
Come out and play. And the Warriors did not come out and play.
Yeah, they did pretty good, though. That was a hell of a last game.
They
Oh,
did
my
do
God.
well. Yeah. As we mentioned last podcast, I do not watch basketball. I know how basketball works.
Right.
I know how you play basketball.
Yeah.
But I don't find it very interesting. But playoff basketball in the last game or two, really interesting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that... just the way they came out and they were like up like 11 points and then it's like suddenly they're behind and then they're like it was stressful.
They played catch up for basically the whole game. I might have fallen asleep for the third quarter.
Yes, you did.
I did. Yeah. Sorry about that.
But go We the North. Woo.
Yeah. So the Raptors ended up winning 114 to 110. And
And what about that last like 0.9 seconds of the game that got replayed like Groundhog Day?
I actually felt really bad for the Warriors because they knew they had lost at that point. And I was just saying to the television, just let them go because it was dragging out that heartbreak that they had. And I actually felt really badly for them.
But you got to do that sort of thing. You got to dot the I's.
I know.
Cross the T's.
I know. It was just extra heartbreak for them that they probably didn't want. But I get it. It just sucked for them.
They played the hell out of the game though. Like honestly, it was such a good game.
And Lowry.
Oh my God.
Lowry.
Mike Lowry. No, it's
Yeah.
not Mike. That's like from Bad Boys.
Is it?
Yeah, that was like Will Smith's character.
Was it?
Yeah, Lowry.
I don't even
Mike Lowry.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was on fire.
Oh my God.
And he was like the shortest guy on the team. And he's probably like 6'9", but he looks like he's very tiny.
It's like 5 foot. Looks like your height
I am.
in comparison to.
Yeah, that's true. So that was fun.
Yeah.
So congratulations to everyone. Woo. That was fantastic.
Yeah, way to go. Other sports news.
World Cup.
Yeah, World Cup soccer, FIFA Women's World Cup, and all sorts of things going on. A lot of countries have had 2 games so far. So France is at the top of their group. Germany's at the top of their group.
Germany.
Italy is at the top of their group. England is at the top of their group. Way to go, England.
Woo.
Netherlands.
Netherlands
is at the top of their group with 2 games. Canada is second in that group, but we've only had 1 game.
Yes.
And I think we play Saturday.
Which is today that we're recording, but this will come out tomorrow.
Yeah, so we don't know whether Canada's going to be at the top.
We are favored to win today against New Zealand.
What do the bookies say?
We are favored to win. We have a 64% chance of winning.
Do you want to make a bet?
Canada's going to win.
Who are we playing?
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Try to keep up. I've mentioned this 4 times in the last 3 sentences that we're playing against New Zealand today. Jesus Christ. But the podcast people who are listening will know how the game turns out. So
right. Well,
if you root against Canada, I will be very upset with you.
It's not that I would root against Canada because I'm all about Canada winning.
Well, I'm rooting for Canada, and I will bet for Canada.
In the interest of something interesting, I'm going to say that Netherlands.
We're not playing. What? Oh my God!
Right?
Did you start drinking like before I got up?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's just coffee.
Are you just munching on your pot leaves? Is that why one of them fell over yesterday? We're playing against New Zealand.
Speaking of which, though, I was just being silly. I'm all about Canada.
Okay. Now on Thursday, we are playing against the Netherlands.
Oh.
And I do like the Netherlands, but they're not in our group right now. So
Yeah, well, and I'm gonna call it for our group. I'm gonna say Group E is gonna be Canada, New Zealand, Netherlands, Cameroon. I'm
really,
yeah.
see, I think Netherlands and Canada are going to be on the top two.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, huh?
We'll see.
All right, yeah, we're gonna see what's gonna go on. And then, of course, Group F is U.S. is on top right now over Sweden, Chile, and Thailand.
Well, actually, if you notice that, so the United States is on top. They have the same number of points as Sweden. However, they have way more goals than Sweden because they came off 13-0 over Thailand the other day.
That's ridiculous.
Now, the big scandal with that game is the United States with the question of sportsmanship.
Right.
The U.S., they basically said you shouldn't have continued to go at Thailand the way they did, and they shouldn't have celebrated the way they did. After 3 or 4 goals, just lay off.
Yeah, well, but also it's World Cup, and I would say continue to put balls in the back of the net.
Yeah.
If work your plays. You work your
Practice
harder plays.
Yep.
Just don't be overzealous in your celebration, right?
And that was the biggest thing. They were super overzealous with every goal. So on one hand, the American women were like, well, we've dreamed of this moment all our lives. Totally. We're going to celebrate.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it looks really bad.
Yeah,
And some people were like, well, if you're that bad at World Cup, you shouldn't be in it. So Thailand shouldn't be in it. But Thailand made it to that stage. So you can imagine the countries that didn't make it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's just, and I think even one U.S. player went to the goaltender of Thailand and, said like, still, you're here. Good job. It's just they don't speak the same language. I'm sure the goaltender appreciated it, right? But the overzealousness was a slap on the wrist. But the Americans were like,
I have mixed feelings on it because it's not like it's U5 soccer, where you don't count goals. Right?
And I saw an article that said, well, if it was the men's cup, they wouldn't have been slapped on the wrist for it, or they wouldn't have been told not to celebrate. And I'm like, don't bring sex into it. That's just like fuck you.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's happening. So go Canada.
Yay, go Canada!
Boom. And sorry, Scotland.
Love you guys.
What are you gonna do? What else is going on? Oh, so I went shopping the other day.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, and it was really funny. So I'm wearing a Dropbear and Panda t-shirt, which will soon be available on our store.
What?
Yeah, we've got actually a new logo coming, which is pretty exciting.
What?
Yeah, from our friend Lucas.
What?
Yeah,
I can't get much higher.
Yeah, no. Anyway, so I'm doing some shopping, and I head over to Cobb's Bread.
Cobb's Bread.
And I'm like, so it's just me in the store. And I'm like, walk up, and I'm just like, because I'm just gonna have a hamburger bun. I just want one bun. The lady,
because you're making a sandwich.
Yeah, I'm making a sandwich. Yeah, I just went and got some meat at the deli and some cheese, and I walk over to Cobb's to get a fresh bun. And this lady at the counter, Linda, at Cobb's Bread in Kensington, she goes, "Hey, what's Dropbear and Panda?" I'm just like, "Oh, well, it's a Dropbear and Panda. We're a comedy team. We do like short films and music videos and podcasts. We do the Dropbear and Panda Save the World podcast." She goes, "Oh, is that ever cool?" I'm just like, "I'd like one bun, please." And she goes, "Oh, who's that for?" I said, "Well, me, Dropbear." She goes, "What about Panda?"
It's so good.
And I'm like, "Well, Linda, Panda's at work. She doesn't need a bun. She brought her lunch." But it was honestly, it was a funny,
Linda, I appreciate you.
it was the funniest thing. So anyway, so I went back there. so I went back there.
Did you bring Linda socks?
No, I did. I should bring Linda socks.
Oh, that would be weird, I think. Here, Linda, have some socks. She'd be like, "I'm calling the police."
Yeah. So then the other day, I go and I buy some hot dogs. And, because I want the buns to stay fresh, I buy like 2 hot dog buns. I cheated on Linda and I went to Safeway and got 2 of their buns. Right? But so
you're probably scared of Linda.
So I come back with 2 buns and I eat 2 hot dogs out of the 6 that are in the package. You come home, you look at the hot dogs, you're like, "Oh, great." And you're like, "Where are the buns?"
Yep.
And she's like, Panda's like, I'm going to tell Linda.
You learned nothing from Linda at all.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
I know. It's been a week. So
Yeah.
then I went, because you told me in the refrigerator there's 3 hot dogs left.
I did. There was a bunch of hot dogs.
So yesterday I went and bought some buns because I was going to have hot dogs for lunch. And then I figured I would get like an extra bun for you. So now there's 3 buns. I go home and I have like 2 hot dogs and I've got 1 bun left over. And you come home and you're like, there's 2 hot dogs in the fridge and only 1 bun. I've had a really hard week.
Damn it.
Yeah. Anyways, so thanks, Linda. I am now a changed man.
And what's really funny is you went to Cobb's Bread this morning.
Yeah.
You knew that there was 2 hot dogs and only 1 bun. Did you get an extra bun? No.
And Linda was there. Damn it.
So you failed like again this morning.
But I got sourdough bread. I got
So-
sourdough flax.
So I'll make myself some nice little roasted hot dogs today for lunch with 1 piece of sourdough
and 1 bun.
and 1 bun. So at least it's not.
That's an old 5440 song.
Stop it.
1 bun added onto the 1 bun added on.
I hate you.
Great Canadian band.
I hate you so much right now.
Oh, and so yesterday, I would like to give praise to your fuzzy kid.
Oh yeah, Newton.
Yeah, Newton. Newton was trying to get my attention yesterday. So I'm working. I'm at the end of this crazy deadline.
Pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. Pay
he's
attention
like
to me.
crazy. He's like meow, meow, wow, wow, and he's like batting me, and he wants scratches, and I'm.
Most people who come over know Newton as a curmudgeon-y little prick.
Yeah.
Who doesn't make a sound. He'll just glare at you like he hates you the entire time you're over. But he's actually quite talkative.
Oh, yeah.
When there aren't strangers around.
He's got stuff to say, and
Yeah.
he was trying to communicate with me, and I was busy, and he kept leaving the room and coming back, and leaving the room and coming back, leaving the room and coming back, and I'm just like, just give me 1 second. I got to finish this thing. So finally, after like 10 minutes, I've had enough, and I'm like, what do you want, Newton? And Newton is sitting on the edge of the carpet leading into the kitchen, and he's just sitting there. He's looking in the kitchen. Our back door is open because he likes to go in and out. And there is a fuzzy bee walking across the kitchen floor.
Oh, is he like a big one, like the size of my thumb?
Yeah, he's like a thumb bee.
Oh.
And so I think the bee was all tuckered out, and Newton was trying to let me know that this bee needed help. So I reached down, I put the bee on my finger, and I got him a little bit of water, and then I put him in a flower in the backyard, and then I put like water in the flower so that he'd have something to drink and some pollen and stuff like that. And Newton was just standing at the door looking, making sure I looked after his little fuzzy buddy.
Yeah. And then Newton was done.
Yeah.
And then he just went to his perch. And
went and did his thing.
See?
Yeah.
Newton is not a giant monster.
Yeah. So
I mean, most people, he can be a giant monster.
to some, but to his fuzzy buddies.
Weird.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the flighty buddies.
No, flappy buddies.
Flappy buddies.
Yeah, flappy buddies are his enemy, mortal enemy.
He'll eat the birds.
Yeah, and furry buddies, he tolerates. He's let a squirrel into the house a couple times. Ugh. I think he showed him like the silverware. The squirrel.
I should count them, right?
Yeah, totally should.
We don't want the squirrels out with like our steak knives.
And your Waterford crystal.
Oh, shit.
Anyway.
See, Newton's not all bad.
So that's been a week.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because sometimes Newton will bug you and all he wants you to do is turn the little tap on so he can have like a fresh drink of water.
Yeah.
But it takes you 40 minutes to figure that out.
I showed you earlier today that I fill that Newton's got a Weiser's glass for his water. He doesn't have a water dish. Well, he does.
Well, he does. He drinks out of it sometimes.
Sometimes. But his preferred method of hydration is a Weiser's glass, Henry Weiser's tumbler.
On our table.
Yeah,
here.
that I fill with filtered water for him.
And then there's me. I'm just like, I'll just fill it up from the tap because whatever.
Yeah.
You are so weird.
I know.
And you're like, it's your cat. You take care of him. And yet, filtered water.
Yeah.
Nothing's too good for
Newton. Quick little note before we jump into the episode. The apocalypse salad has taken over. The lettuce needs to be harvested.
There's lettuce everywhere.
Lettuce and basil. Holy crap.
We should make pasta this weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
The tomatoes, they're starting to get ready to tomato, if that's a verb. It is now. And so the peppers taking a long time. They're getting there, but like the paper lantern pepper, the habanero, and the Ho Chi Minh pepper, they're taking some time. And I did some research, and it takes probably 2 months for them to like do their thing.
Well, you're just going to have to wait for that one pepper that's going to burn your face off.
I know.
I also want to mention before we go, we are planning a Canada Day short.
Oh, yeah.
We're making a Dropbear and Panda Canada Day because Canada is awesome.
Yep.
I believe it's Canada's 152nd centennial birthday, which it's not a centennial because it's not 100 years. It's, I don't know. What is that word for? Centennial? 100? 150?
100.
Yeah.
It's 100.
So it's 152
Yeah.
on July 1st. So we are doing a Canada Day short, which we will be releasing probably Canada Day.
Canada Day.
Maybe the day before,
We don't know.
but look out for that.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Be super good.
I'm writing it.
Yep. Oh, and you're doing
I've already written it, but
you're doing lots of research.
yeah, I've done some research.
It's a written by Panda production.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. We have plans. Whether they actually work out or not is,
I think it's pretty simple. We're just
well, we always say it's going to be simple, and it never is.
yeah. What are
So
you gonna
that's
do?
the thing.
Yep, it is.
Now we bring you Badger.
Welcome to
Dropbear and Panda.
episode
47. Yeah. Wow.
He's so enthusiastic.
Yeah.
He's going to fit right in Russia.
Nah.
God.
Russian. I just met him.
Oh. He hasn't cracked a smile yet. There we go.
But he doesn't have his tracksuit on.
Not yet.
I wonder when that's happening.
Yeah. No, well, and that's funny because I'm looking at that and thinking, do I want to buy a tracksuit when I get there? And I think the answer is probably yes, but we'll see what happens.
In what color?
Black.
I always think of blue.
Really? And I always think like red with like white stripes and like Adidas sneakers.
Well, it has to be an Adidas tracksuit with the Adidas sneakers.
Yeah.
I always think of it in blue.
Huh.
Yeah. What do I know?
When I was in, oh God, where the hell was I? I was in Nizhny Novgorod, and
I'm not spelling that in the notes.
I was in Nizhny Novgorod, staying at a hotel. That's where Andrei Sakharov was in internal exile after he made his statements about peace and stuff like that.
Gross. Peace.
Yeah, I know. Awful. Anyways, I was having a smoke outside the hotel, and these two Russians came out, and one of them was wearing the tracksuit, and he immediately did the Slavic squat and just sat on his heels and smoked a cigarette, and he's wearing the Adidas tracksuit with he's just yeah. So yeah, it's a thing.
So
Some stereotypes are there for a reason.
Yeah. Have you been working on your deep knee bends in preparation for your trip?
Are you kidding? I am so old. My knees creak. My back creaks. My neck creaks.
I was just thinking that
My schwanz creaks.
Oh, cool.
Okay, well, that was a great episode. Next week, we're
Friday suck. Friday, yeah. So, for those that are just tuning in, Badger, you were here about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you were on our very first episode of Dropbear and Panda,
Save
episode
the world.
1.
Woo, woo, woo.
I was episode 1.
You were episode 1.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
We've just gotten better ever since.
I can see the improvement.
now we're going downhill.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was episode 1 when just before you were about to leave to Russia, and you went on a 6-month tour.
Yep.
On your motorcycle.
Yep.
From Ireland.
Dublin, Ireland, and I got as far east as Yekaterinburg.
Damn.
And that's
You got arrested twice.
one.
You escaped arrest once.
I escaped arrest once. I got arrested for real on a second time. Yeah. Yeah, the Estonian police were not happy with me speeding. And the Russian police were not happy with me being in their city where they build nukes.
Which you didn't know at the time.
Right, because they don't have a map with nukes on it. You don't know.
We have various episodes where we actually came back and Badger was our Russian correspondent. The reason why we bring Badger back here a year later...
Only reason.
The only reason.
Yeah. Definitely not by popular demand, that's for sure.
Oh, no.
Oh, is because...
Hi to all of my fans in Croatia.
Dropbear and Panda is huge in Croatia.
Yeah.
They're going to love you.
You're definitely not getting in for sure.
Croatia is totally awesome. I would love to come and visit one day. You bastards.
A badger in Croatia.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But back in episode 1, we talked to Badger about him going away the next day to this giant across Europe Russia tour where he stayed in Russia for a few months to learn Russian, and he was so terrified. Before we started the podcast, he was quaking on our front step, close to tears, absolutely petrified about this trip, wondering what the fuck he was doing with his life. And now he has decided to move there. And he leaves on the 20th of June forever. Unless something weird happens and he comes back. But really, forever.
Super spy or English teacher?
Who knows?
I just tune pianos, man. I'm just a piano tuner.
Badger the deaf piano tuner. I should mention also that your motorcycle that you traveled across continents on is for sale.
It is indeed for sale. It hasn't sold yet. Maybe I'm asking too much for it, but damn, it's a good bike, and there's nothing that's going to kill it. So we'll see what happens.
How much? What do you want for it?
$4.
$4,000?
Yeah.
$4,000?
$4.
I'm looking for 4,000, but really.
And what is it?
KLR 650, and it's kitted out. It's got hard bags. It's got toe
tags. It's got rag tags.
Rag tags, big bags, whatever.
Saddlebags,
saddlebags.
Panda.
Yeah, it's kitted for touring. It's an awesome bike. It's seen some miles, but damn, I'd ride the thing to Tierra del Fuego tomorrow if I weren't leaving for Russia.
Right. I can't pronounce the place you just said. That sounds great.
So you haven't listened to episode 1 because you claim you hate the sound of your own voice.
I hate the sound of my own voice.
Now, what I think is funny is the fact that you were so terrified to leave, and now you're also terrified to leave. Probably for different reasons, I'm assuming, because you've already been there, but you obviously fell in love with St. Petersburg.
And Russia in general.
Yeah.
So why Russia? Give us a love letter to Russia.
A love letter to Russia.
Keep your junk out of it, though.
Keep my junk out of it, totally. It creaks.
And it's probably dry.
We're not talking about you, Panda.
Panda's never dry.
Oh, dear God. Oh, okay. Hi, Dad. And Mom.
Hi, Croatia.
Hey-oh. I'm doing the Slavic squat right now.
Thinking about Croatia, doing the Slavic squat.
Okay.
Anyways,
moving on.
What were we talking about?
Love letter to Russia.
Love letter, to Russia with love. Okay,
Exactly.
so here's the deal. I encountered some of the warmest, most open, intelligent, engaged people I have ever met.
Wow.
No, I really got in with the expat community in St. Petersburg, which is the reason that I'm able to make this move. Oh, okay. I've got a work permit, so that allows me to go and do some stuff there. It's not permanent. It's the kind of thing I have to renew every year, but that's okay. I'm not. That's the deal. That's the way the Russians want to do it. That's fine. But the Russian people I met were. On the surface, they look very serious and very dour, and you get on the metro and nobody smiles or anything. But once you crack that shell, and it's actually a very, very thin shell, and I think it's sort of
coated with vodka,
coated with tremendous amounts of vodka, and they are warm and open, and I think they're so passionate that. The hard exterior is protects a very profound vulnerability.
Wow.
They're really very, very interesting to talk to. Okay, so I'm in Izhevsk and I meet a guy named Ramil, and Ramil he's a truck driver. I don't know. I was drinking outside the bar one night. I was reading a book, and then just a couple of people came up and. Can I bum a cigarette? Can I get a light? Yeah, sure. And then they found out I don't speak Russian. And then they found out, well, if you don't speak Russian, what do you speak? Oh, you speak English. And where are you from? You're from Canada. And then suddenly there's a dozen people, and we're just kibitzing around a circle. and passing my phone around because it's got Google Translate on it, and
fun.
people are because my Russian is terrible still, but this guy Ramil is a truck driver, but his English is actually pretty darn good. You don't meet too many truck drivers in Canada who are native Canadian who speak other languages, but he was
even French, right?
or even French, or So he was making a hell of a go of it, and we were having a lovely chat back and forth, and he's showing me he's got pictures of his 3-year-old daughter on his phone. So he's showing me videos of his daughter sort of racing around the park, and he's showing me pics of him and his wife at a rock festival they'd had the year before, and he's telling me about his family. He's telling me about where he likes to go fishing in the winter. He likes to go. He loves his daughter. He loves his wife. He loves everything that he's doing, and is engaging incredibly passionately with this stranger. And then when I came back through Izhevsk, I hooked up with Ramil again, and he and a bunch of his friends took me to. Oh, they took me down to the lakeside. There's a big artificial lake, a huge, massive artificial lake there, and that's where all the locals pull up in their cars, and that's a predominantly Muslim part of Russia, and they all get hookahs out of the back of their cars. So they take hookahs and they sit on the tailgates, and they're smoking hookahs.
Tailgate hookah party.
A tailgate
Oh my
hookah
God,
party.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, they call it an ovto party.
Yeah.
So it's basically tailgates with hookahs. And
I would totally do that.
so I met a bunch of it, and so they're laughing, they're singing, they're Ramil's brought his ukulele, so they're making some tunes. And then we meet one of his friends who's got a hookah pipe he's passing around, and this guy, what's his name? Chuck Norris. So Chuck, it's good to meet you. And
What?
yeah, that was his nickname, Chuck Norris.
That's amazing.
It is, yeah. So there's Ramil, his friend Chuck Norris, his other friend Artyom, his friend Masha, and
Masha.
Maria becomes Masha. So Alexander becomes Sasha.
I got it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Masha. Yeah, if the Brady Bunch were in New Jersey. Anyways, yeah. So I got to meet all of these people, and it's interesting. So Artyom is talking, and Artyom's got his tongue pierced. He's got and I just said very, very deadpan, that must make you very popular with the ladies. And then when their translation gears clicked in,
Yeah.
Artyom just blushed beet red, absolutely beet red, and his friends were howling. They absolutely loved it. But most of us here, it would be, oh yeah, I'm a lady. He blushed. He absolutely blushed.
That's so great.
Yeah, so it's just
cute.
It's just it is. It's little stuff like that. There's also too. Ramil had asked me. He said, why do people hate us so much? And when he said that, it was really heartbreaking because there. What can you say? There's a real. Thank you very much, Mr. Ronald Reagan, for his evil empire thing. All of the election manipulation stuff, the almost a resurgence of the Cold War, and the kicker is these people are desperately afraid of any kind of war, and they feel they've been under siege for 70 years, and they're like the rest of us. They just want to ride their motorcycles and drink their vodka and love the people they love and hang out and chat with friends, and they don't get the whole geopolitical thing, and they don't see the propaganda that we get in North America. And by God, do we get a lot of it. It might not be unsubtle.
Right.
Do you think, though, that just because you're not a native speaker or a native reader, that they get the same amount of propaganda on the other side?
They certainly do get propaganda, and they have certain kinds of limited access to non-Russian news sites. But I think generally speaking, the level of sophistication is higher. They really are aware of what's going on in other countries in a way that most of us aren't.
Yeah.
But again, I'm kind of blowing smoke here because my Russian isn't good enough to have those really kind of profound conversations.
Right.
It's going to take me a while to figure out what's going on and to figure out how people are thinking and reacting.
We'll have
and
you
whatnot.
back a year from now and see how you've changed. I'm waiting for the tracksuit.
Maybe I'll grow my beard back.
The way I sort of see it is the singular human. It's not usually a person that's a problem. It's usually groups of people, right? So the singular person doesn't care about the propaganda and all this stuff. But when you get a large group of people together with the propaganda wheel going, then it becomes kind of a disaster. And I find that the propaganda machine in the U.S. is just out of control right now for sure. And it's really too bad because half of it doesn't even technically exist. Exists in a fake.
I think you guys both hit it on the head. I mean, like, one-on-one, we're just people surviving.
Yeah.
And you saw it firsthand when you're over there. That's really all we all want. Just to go for a walk, see a bird.
Have a nice dinner.
Have our existence, have our friends. Do our own thing.
Sit down
enjoy
and
life.
have a talk without fear of repercussion or whatever. So so good on you for taking the plunge. I can't wait to hear what the hell is going to happen next.
Yeah, well, it's so this kind of thing was really the impetus. And when I got back to Petersburg, I took another month of Russian lessons.
Oh wait, hold on. I got to call you on something. Petersburg now? It's not St. Petersburg. It's just Petersburg.
I've just always called it Petersburg. St. Petersburg.
I'm just wondering if that's what we call it when we go visit you.
He's also called it SPB, which is the junior high I went to. So the first time he said that, I got very confused.
I didn't mean to interrupt your story. I just think it's important to call out because I want to know what the Russians call it.
The Russians. A lot of them call it Peter.
Really?
Yeah.
Going back to Peter.
Yeah. Yep. They just really shorten it.
Gotta go pee.
Yep.
It's like super short.
Okay. So I get back to Petersburg and I hook up with all of these expats, and they are so thrilled to be in this city. They are enthusiastic. They love Russian culture. They love the Russian language. They love the opportunities that the country has for them. And they said, well, one of them, James, is a Glaswegian who's been living there for 8 years. He said, what do you do? And I said, well, I work for lawyers, but when I'm not doing that, I teach English. He says, you get paid for that? And I said, no, I volunteer. And he says, a very thick Glaswegian accent. He says, oh, Christ, are you stupid? You should come here and get paid for that. So I said, well, I need to get a work permit for that. I said, I could get you that piece of piss. So, okay. So basically I said, fine. And it took a long time, but boom, it finally arrived. I've got a work permit, and James will help set me up with some of the first gigs I get, and after that we'll just see what happens. So
the photos you showed me of St. Petersburg or Peter, the Peter,
The big
don't
P.
confuse that with something else. Looks amazing, and the water, it's surrounded by water. Basically,
it's like Venice. There are canals everywhere.
Yeah.
When Peter the Great built the city, he wanted to build a naval port. He wanted to modernize Russia. This was his new capital. And he started Russian shipbuilding there. He had warehouses. He had people harvesting trees. They built canals so that they could transport logs and masts and all of this stuff. So it was designed to be a commercial and industrial and political center for Russia, and was and has been. I don't remember when the capital, I think, moved back to Moscow. I don't remember when, but it back and forth, but Petersburg really is it's the gateway to the West. That's their showcase city in a lot of ways, and it is glorious. It's absolutely gorgeous in the summer. It's a bit cold and miserable in the winter, but so is Calgary.
It gets no sun in the winter.
Yeah, and it gets all the sun in the summer. We're coming up on white nights. There's going to be 3 or 4 days of sun doesn't go down.
So it's like the latitude is Yellowknife-ish, maybe?
Yeah.
Somewhere like that?
Yeah.
So you're going to be quite north.
Yeah.
Are you worried about the winter time?
No.
It was founded in 1703.
Yes.
You're not worried about total nights?
I like the dark. I don't mind. I might have to get one of them sad lights. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
My father used to lived in Yellowknife for a couple years, and he found it very strange. He got a sad light and said that he thought it might have worked. But he said it was very strange going to and from work in the dark all the time. But also he found it very strange, going to a restaurant and going to the bar and then leaving at midnight in the bright sunlight well.
When I was there first go around, I'm out with friends. We're at the pub and we're drinking away, and we think, oh geez, it's 9 or 10 p.m. Should we be going home? No, it's 2.
Wow.
It's 2 a.m.
Oops.
It's like living in a casino.
Yeah, because we're sitting
only
on
less sadness.
We're sitting on a
more
patio.
sadness.
We're drinking cheap beer. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's having a great time. We're massacring the Russian language. This is when I was in school with my classmates, and we're just we lose track of time. And the sun's out. What time is it? Oh, it must be 10 p.m. No, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And the bridges have all opened, and we're all screwed.
Where's the time go?
So you're just stuck there for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, well,
Yes.
might as well just keep drinking.
Keep drinking.
There you go.
Exactly.
I can see why you like it.
It
now.
all comes full circle.
And there are, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, do you think part of this has to do with the fact that you're old? This is your midlife
Yes.
crisis?
Yes.
You don't have enough money to buy a Ferrari and a bountiful bunch of hookers, so...
A nubile thing?
Yes.
Yes.
So...
Yes, in part this is because I'm old. I have a chance to do something that most people would never have the chance to do or dream of doing.
Most people would do like Bali or somewhere warm.
What are you going to do in Bali, though? Right? Like, you can't go teach English or tune pianos in Bali, can you?
A scuba shop.
Right?
Motorcycle shop.
Yeah, and there's lots of guys who do that. There's lots of Australians who I'm sure do the scuba and the motorcycles and the scooters and stuff like that. And okay, great, but I don't scuba dive and I don't motorcycle. So what am I gonna do in Bali? No, I get off on learning stuff, and Russian is just twisting my brain inside out. Russia is awesome. I have so much to learn. That's what I'm going there to do, is to learn. I want to learn stuff.
Well, you have a very thirsty brain. You have a very smart brain. You're very intelligent. My only concern is your lack of food. Russia is not known for its food.
Yeah, it's actually, no, it is. It's known for having the most terrible food in the universe.
Cool.
Are you going to bring cuisine to Russia?
I am going to bring cuisine to my own kitchen. I hope that the people I end up cooking for will be pleased,
Well, if they're
especially
expats.
me.
Yeah.
Especially me.
You are known in Calgary for your amazing cooking skills. So
Thank you.
you're
He
welcome.
has a paella pan that is
No.
now,
That
he's given to me.
our or your paella
It's
pan.
Panda's paella pan.
We had a paella party at Badger's place. I've been to one, but there has been more. It was lobster paella.
Yeah.
And everybody had to put in money afterwards because it cost so goddamn much.
Yep.
But it was like, how many lobsters did you get?
I don't remember. There was
50.
there was just a mess of lobster meat in there and chorizo and just chickpeas and rice and scallops and prawns, and it was
so good.
really, really, really bourgeois. I think I had a couple of paella parties, but they were.
I had only been to one.
That's one
but-
thing I would. That's a word I'd use to describe Badger. Bourgeois.
And Bren was the bartender.
That's right. He was making caipirinhas.
Yeah.
Which
He's not a fan of large groups of people, so he was just the bartender.
I am. Yes,
yeah.
that'd be me.
That would be you.
Put me behind a bar,
It's perfect.
away from the unwashed masses.
Speaking of bars,
Yeah.
Badger decided to bring us beer,
Yeah.
and as a little mini troll, he brought us Land Shark Lager.
Brought you Land Shark Lager.
Yes, brought me Land Shark.
Knock knock.
Lager. Who's there?
Land Shark.
Land Shark. Land Shark. Land Shark.
That's amazing. Where'd you find that?
I just went to the brew shop up around the corner from me, and just walked into the cold beer room, and I said, "Land Shark."
Done.
Done. I'm not even.
Where's it from? Read that label. Let's give them a shout out.
It says
Margaritaville.
International Brewing Company.
Fins up.
Land Shark Lager. Yep. It's
So branding's not really their
Nope.
thing.
no.
Ontario.
Ontario.
Kitchener. Waterloo Brewing Limited. Kitchener, Ontario.
All right.
Rock and roll.
There you go. Ontario.
Yep.
Ontario.
Place to see, a place to glow.
Ontario. Before you go.
You're going to Ontario.
Yes. Yes.
Speaking of which, good segue.
Nice.
Very, very good segue. Yes. So I'm leaving on the 20th. I'm going to go see my parents in the glorious, exquisite town of Fenelon Falls.
Fenelon Falls.
Has
Fenelon.
anyone actually heard of that place before?
Is that Fentanyl Falls?
No, it's not fentanyl. It's Fenelon Falls. It is very proper.
Oh.
It's a very
Yeah,
proper town.
sorry, Fenelon
It was,
Falls.
it was a very. It's a lovely town on the shores of Cameron Lake. Actually, it's at the confluence of Cameron and Sturgeon Lakes.
Where is that? Give me the.
Oh, good God! So it's in the. Well, they now call it the city.
Instead of
Fort
listening
Lakes,
to
which is
these
some
idiots decide
stupid
what kind of
huge
falls they're
landmass,
talking about
and
and where
there's
they
all
are,
kinds of little
wouldn't you
towns
rather
around
listen
there.
to
Probably
some
the
Friday
biggest
sock
nearby
jingles
town is
about
BC, and the
mismatched
biggest
socks
town
done
in
by the amazing, illustrious, and talented Rob Mitchelson?
Yes.
I know I would. So why don't we take it away, Rob Mitchelson? Here you go.
Reach for the top, reach for the socks, those Friday socks. Friday socks, ethically made. Dropbear and Panda, love them. Friday socks, designed in Canada, perfectly mismatched, freaky. Reach for the top, reach for the socks, those Friday socks. Reach for the top, those Friday socks,
Yeah, there's an ice cream place in Fenelon right beside the locks there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that, but it's people will go. They and remember the summers, and this was God. I remember the summers in the 1970s because all of the music of my youth is stuff that you heard on AM radio because that's all you had really then, and so I remember Supertramp. You know, but this is you can say but this is the oral background. You know, Mike and I'm sure we share this youth. You know, you have this oral background of this music from a particular era, and you're listening to this, and you see somebody driving a Z71 and you think that's the coolest car in the universe, and you're eating tiger ice cream by the locks in Fenelon Falls, and you're watching people go through in their Glastron boats with their and it's there's just this sense of a time and place. I guess you're getting old when you've got these memories. And that was, another thing about being in Russia that was interesting is most of the people I was interacting with, the Russians I were interacting with, the younger ones, They were born after the fall of communism.
Oh, right.
Oh.
They didn't know about. They don't know about the evil empire. They didn't grow up during the Cold War.
Right.
They didn't know about the mutually assured destruction and all that. That
Yeah.
wasn't part of their psyche in the way it is part of mine.
Oh,
Interesting. That's true.
I was just with your AM radio comment. I was like looking up Lake Ontario because I grew up just by there, and I have this memory of us going to Ontario Place.
Yeah.
And taking like a ferry or little boat to an island,
Center Island.
Center Island.
Center Island. Yeah.
And my mom, like, she's wearing like shorts and a halter, and she's got an AM radio
A halter top.
and an AM radio. And like with the antenna sticking out.
Yep.
I don't know what she was listening to, like Merle Hagwood, or I don't know. Is that even a band?
I don't know, but it doesn't matter. It's just AM radios were a thing.
Yeah.
This was. No. I mean, to have an AM radio, the halter top, so slightly fuzzy with ripples in it or whatever.
I don't remember that part. I might have blacked that out.
I
But I totally
Elizabeth,
remember
I'll
like
ask you
being
later.
on that island.
Yes.
And my mom with her AM radio, and we had like a picnic and
yes.
Ontario summers.
Yeah. People go to Center Island. They had little cars you could drive around the track, and
totally.
they had the maze that was actually kind of, hedge maze, which was actually kind of destroyed, but whatever.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
In my mind's eye,
Never
we
been
traveled for hours across Lake Ontario to get to this island.
Yeah.
When in fact it's like right there. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
And Ontario Place was. Did you go to the Cinesphere?
Oh yeah, I went to the Cinesphere.
The Cinesphere.
And not only that, I had a birthday party there, and for one of my birthdays, I got like a jean jacket with a Fonz patch on it.
Oh, a jean jacket! Oh my god!
And we were on that sort of that bouncy castle with the ropes and stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe you guys were there at the same time and never knew it.
It is possible. It is possible.
Maybe you guys were behind each other in a lineup for Tiger ice cream. You don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Damn.
Does anybody else eat Tiger ice cream? Is
I
that just?
did not
I
eat
love Tiger ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's great. I'm thinking of. I'm going to give a shout out to the McNiff family that I grew up with in Pickering, Ontario, and I want to say Kevin McNiff and Angelina and Martina McNiff. They're twins.
Ooh.
Yep. So that's all I got to say. I was like 7, but I remember you guys.
Yeah, that's funny because my folks have been living on this cottage for 50 years, and it's we still talk about we've got old friends, old neighbors up the road, and they and my parents' friends are oh God, I think Bruce is just retired, and he's in his 60s or something like that, and he's but his father built the cottage, so he inherited the cottage from his father, and we know all of the people who were original owners of the cottages on that, because it was that section, it was farmland, and the farmer just subdivided it back in 1920 or whatever, and said, yeah, if you want to build a cottage, you can build a cottage. So there was, the old guy, Bill Stevens, who was an old stockbroker who built a little house on the end, and then the Gordon family, and he was a mechanic for the Toronto Transit Commission. He was a TTC bus mechanic.
Yeah.
And then the Alma Hunt, who built and owned the cottage that my parents bought from her in '68. And then Frankie Risco, oh my God, he was
So many people to tag in this episode.
well, these people are all dead now, which is kind of sad. But
We'll
yeah.
take the funeral home.
But no, Frankie.
Please send flowers.
Frankie was actually really cool. He was, as far as I was aware, he escaped Czechoslovakia in the 50s, and ended up. I don't know what he was doing, but he was a guy who could do everything. He would salvage stuff and he would transform it into other things. He built a cottage that would survive a nuclear attack. It was just built so solidly. Bruce was talking about, he built a set of stairs into, there's embankment. So he built a set of stairs into this embankment, and he says, Bruce says, it's been 50 years. that thing has not moved an inch. Okay, I mean, this guy was absolutely meticulous. But the trouble is, he built this staircase out of concrete slabs he had salvaged from the dump. Okay,
my God.
So I mean, the guy did not spend money. He didn't. He had no money. You know, he would salvage stuff. So he's built this absolutely engineered to perfection staircase out of ugly concrete slabs that he salvaged from the dump.
That's great.
It is. It's incredible. He built the hand railing. He salvaged old water pipe, the old iron pipe,
And rejoined it.
and threaded it, joined it together, shaped it, and built the banister railing for these perfect concrete salvage slabs. And the thing has not moved in 50 years. The guy was a perfectionist.
Crazy. Hey, you had time in Nova Scotia? Is that right, Panda?
Yes, I sure did.
What part?
Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Dartmouth?
Creighton Park.
Creighton Park.
Creighton Park.
Tell me about Creighton Park for a second. We're getting like this is a walk down memory lane Canada episode.
Well, after I lived in Nepean, Ontario, which is right outside of Ottawa, we moved to Creighton Park, which is a neighborhood in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, which is across the Halifax Harbor from Halifax. And it was delightful. There's 26 lakes in Dartmouth's borders. So if you're like, I'm going to go swimming, you just walk down the street and jump into Burridge Cove. And it was awesome.
How old were you?
I was between age 6 and 12 when I lived in Nova Scotia.
Oh, and you guys used to go play on icebergs.
Yeah, apparently. I think my parents wanted us dead, to be honest. So the Atlantic Ocean was really cold.
Here's a bottle of cyanide. Go play on the
pretty
iceberg.
much, yeah. So people don't usually know this, but when there are hurricanes down south, you can actually get hurricanes way up north. And when you have icebergs up north, they can actually break off, and you see them go by Newfoundland, but they can actually settle on the coast of Nova Scotia. Because the Atlantic Ocean is quite cold. You can swim without a wetsuit on the Pacific Ocean, but you cannot do that on the Atlantic. It's very cold. So I remember one fall or winter, I can't quite remember, where there were these broken pieces of icebergs that had settled on one of the beaches that we used to frequent. We used to run our dogs up and down the beaches. And we as kids decided to climb on these icebergs and just go out.
Why wouldn't you?
In my memories, we only went out 30 feet, but
It's like me in Center Island. As far as
right.
I knew, I was in the
as
middle.
far as I knew, I went out 400 meters or 6 kilometers.
3 days. We
My
had to
God,
eat.
there's Iceland.
But yeah, we jumped from iceberg to iceberg, and thinking back on it now, if we had fallen between any of those, because it's not like we were wearing crampons, we easily could have died, drowned, got crushed. And my
Welcome to
mom was
Canada.
probably like, just jump one more, just slip slightly.
Do you think she was hoping for
I have 3 kids. I could do without one of them.
What would it be like to stop being the middle child and be the older child?
People would pay attention to me.
What would it be like to be not the middle child, but the youngest?
Oh my gosh. I could get away with everything. Mom and Dad, I do exist. Remember me? Mom? Dad? Hello?
Just jump on the iceberg, dear. I'll be over soon.
Push Colleen or Heather right off.
Hey, have you ever thought about what it would be like to be an only child?
Way to
no.
take it to the logical conclusion, Badger. That's perfect.
No inheritance issues.
It was an accident.
Oops.
It was really, really sad.
That's what happens in Nova Scotia.
Do you have nephews? No. Would you like a kidney? It's very fresh.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's been on ice for the last.
Oh. Damn, you cold.
No, she's cold.
But not frozen, because that would ruin the whole transplant thing. Oh, very good, very fresh. Just for you.
Oh my god.
We're getting letters.
Yeah.
Is this the episode we get letters finally?
It could be.
I don't know.
Speaking of sharks, my dad, he's a geophysicist. He had these fossilized shark teeth, and Colleen's gonna hate me for this. But he told my
listens to our
sister,
podcast.
he told Colleen, my older sister, once that he punched a shark in the face and got those teeth. And she was in like grade 7 or something. I can't remember how old she was. And she told everybody that was the story. And then it wasn't
Fathers are
until
the
years
worst.
later that he was like, no, I didn't. She's like, you, and she's like, but I told everybody. And she like, I don't think she's forgiven him to this day.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, she's like,
Fathers are
oh,
terrible.
Fathers are the worst.
My dad
And
had
I don't even think he remembered he ever told that to her. And she was like, she was so mad. Like, so bad. She's like, that probably is why everyone looked at me like I was an idiot.
Well, hang on. The only father we have in this room, as far as we know, is Mr.
As far as we know.
As far as we know, is Dropbear here.
Yeah.
So what is your worst dad story?
About yourself.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
There's so many.
So what's the thing that you've done to your kids that you suspect has traumatized them the most?
Yeah.
There's so many. My kids will call in. We're gonna get letters from my kids.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And do you like it when skin is crunchy? Yeah. Oh, it was like it was a mortifying and yet hilarious example of how you can accidentally fuck up your kids.
Put on some sunscreen and go stand outside. Crunchy brown skin.
Here, eat this bag of Twizzlers. Ugh. Kids.
You didn't. Your kids seem to be happy and successful, and actually, and they seem to be living really passionate lives.
Yeah,
so
they're pretty great.
That's a testament to a job well done. So well done.
Woohoo.
Well done, Mr. Dropbear.
None of us are crack whores, so I think our parents did pretty well. What?
Crack fox.
None of us are crack foxes, so I think we're pretty good. Handsome man.
You're so handsome.
So handsome man.
Did you ever watch that? I sent that to you, I think.
Was that
Crack
Boosh.
Foss from the Mighty Boosh.
No?
Damn it! I swear I sent that to you.
Well, you might have done. I'm not good at.
You need to bring the Mighty Boosh to Russia, sir.
I've got too much. I need to learn about Russian stuff. I don't need to introduce them to any North American stuff. They get.
It's not North American, sir.
Oh yeah, whatever. Western stuff. How about that? They don't need to. I'm there to learn, not to teach, except English.
Good thing you put that on the end there.
Well, yeah, I got to make some money somehow.
So, what are your goals over the next 5 years?
Good God.
Badger goal number 1.
Badger goal.
Or do you
number-
want to count down? Badger goal number 5.
Learn Russian.
Badger goal number 4.
Don't starve.
Badger goal number 3.
I think I just exhausted the list.
It's good to have goals.
Yeah.
Well, but that's okay. Once a particular goal has been achieved, I can find something else. You know, I've got a language and a culture to learn. That's a lifetime right there.
Well, you've only got so much of a lifetime left. So.
I know. That's why I'm doing it now.
Panda just looks at her watch. That's how much lifetime.
No, actually, my phone was going off, and it just says that the St. Louis Blues just won the Stanley Cup over the Boston Bruins 4-1.
Oh, that is both great and bad. Yeah. I've got no skin in that game whatsoever, other than Bobby Orr was my guy growing up.
I understand that. Yep, he was a lot of people's guys.
Number
growing up.
4, Bobby Orr.
Yeah. Bobby Orr, Eddie Shack.
Yep.
Clear the shack. Clear the track. Here comes Shack.
Hey, check.
It's like
man,
the
big
77, 78 Maple Leafs.
Yeah, when they
Kidding me? Like
and that
Daryl
was,
Sittler and Mike Palmatier.
oh God, yeah, but that you got to remember.
McDonald.
77 was still 10 years after the last time they won the cup.
I know.
They have not won the cup in my lifetime.
I know.
Oh,
All right.
Signing off, guys. That's awesome. Thank you.
How are you going to save the world, Badger?
How am I going to save the world?
Yep.
And I have a friend who moved to the Czech Republic in 1990, and he basically ended up being, and still is, a kind of cultural ambassador. And that's about the best thing that I could imagine being.
He
right
checked himself before he wrecked himself. No?
Soundbite. Yes.
Sorry.
I liked your story about your son. That was really, really good.
Okay.
So you're going to be an ambassador?
A cultural ambassador. It's
Like for Canada to Russia, or from Russia to Canada?
both.
Interesting.
Russia.
Look at it this way. If I am still allowed to be your Russian correspondent,
Yes.
I would be more than happy to
Report from
basically
from
report
Peter?
report from Peter. Give the Peter report.
The Peter report would be amazing.
Right.
Give the Peter report. Maybe pick a thing once a month to talk about it briefly. Stuff that I'm learning and discovering as I'm over there.
I love it.
And equally, when I'm teaching my students, that's interesting. When I was learning Russian, the Russian teachers, I'd say, okay, let's come on, let's have the nasty words, let's have the nasty language right away, and the response would be in Russia, you don't. This is not something that you need. Whereas my feeling as a Canadian approach to something like that is, you need to know this so you have a context and an understanding.
Right.
When I'm teaching my students here, I do a bad word class, and I teach them. I say, okay, guys, let's. I'm gonna write some bad words. Come on, give me and they start light, and then they get heavier and heavier. I mean, they get some really some nasty language up on the board.
Any ones you've never heard before?
No. There's
You've met Scott, right?
anyways.
7 words you can't say on television.
But in any event, I write these words down on the board, and they start laughing more and more because they know that they're doing something taboo, but they don't have a social context for it. And so I try to give them context. I say, okay, guys, you don't get to use these words. Do not use them. You do not understand when or how or where or what. You don't. Until you've been here for a long time, until your English is better, don't use these words. Right. But you're going to hear them, and they talk about stories, because a lot of these guys are, some of them working at Tim Hortons, and they're working with some mixed race people behind the counter, mixed backgrounds, whatever else, and they're starting to hear some the language of some pretty working class language, and they're
roofer comes in, says, "I want a fucking coffee."
I want to fuck. Well, or two friends behind the counter will be saying, "Get that for me, bitch." And they're not being nasty. Right. It's who's the bitch here? And so they're just going back and forth. Now that's for Canada, it's not a big deal, and it depends on the context.
If you're being pulled over by a cop, you say, "Oh, bitch, please." Don't say that.
Yeah, that's a really bad idea. But but your best friend shows up at the bar, and you say, "Oh Christ, look what walked in the door." So you can see that, or you fuckwit. That's right. Between friends, that's fine. But in Russia, in contrast, suka, which is bitch, that's like our C word.
Oh, verboten.
Yeah, it's just, you don't use that. That's right up there with the C word, as far as I can tell right now, in terms of context. So the Russian teachers say you don't need to know that, whereas they deliberately don't teach that. Whereas I will be teaching that to people. I want them to have a context and an understanding.
Scott's so going to be arrested.
Again.
Language police.
This isn't Quebec. Yo.
How are you going to save the world, Panda? Scott's going to swear at Russia. What are you going to do?
I'm going to teach Russians to swear.
Well, I am going to save the world by telling everyone on this podcast that skut means cattle in Russian.
And my nickname is Skatina.
Skatina.
Is that little cow?
No. It means somebody as ill-bred and filthy and disgusting as a barnyard animal.
So
Strangely fitting.
yeah. So you're welcome, world.
How did you get that as a nickname?
My
Is
name
that a
is
term of endearment?
His name is Squat.
It's
Gotta know.
In the context it's being used, yes, it's a term of endearment. But in the context of Russia, it's actually quite the insult. So it's
Little column A, little column B.
yeah,
And you're moving
well,
there, hey?
He's gonna die.
it's I'm sorry, my name is Scott. It's inescapable in Russia, and
You could have
unless
been the machine.
I'm not the machine. Maybe maybe I can get people to call me Barsuk, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I don't know how else to save the world. He can sleep in our egg chamber
Oh, that's
the
nice.
night
of you.
before. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. The egg chamber is our
Basement suite.
basement suite. He just calls it our egg chamber. And I won't put up posters of the alien queen.
Oh God, geez, don't. Oh no.
I'll have a poster of the face just sticking out of one of the ceiling tiles. I mean, I won't do that.
What?
Don't do that. Don't.
That's the Predator.
I know. Doesn't
It's the
matter.
same thing.
Predator,
It's all the
alien,
same.
alien versus predator.
What did you think about that alien predator pole dance on the web today?
Rule 34. It breaks me.
Wow.
It's so good, but so bad, right?
It's yeah.
I was conflicted.
I wasn't. I was horrified. No.
So how are you going to save the world, Dropbear?
I saved the world, man.
Well, I am gifting still. I've got. Oh, I gave away one of my weed kids. Not now. When they grow up a little, I'm adopting my weed kids out.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you're going to drive Scoot to the airport.
Oh yeah, that's how I'm gonna save the Western world.
Get the fuck out.
And I'm gonna help sell this motorcycle.
Which is awesome.
What is the motorcycle again, by the way? Which is for sale? Which has traveled across the world?
KLR 650 Kawasaki, awesome bike, and at least 10% to you.
What?
Yep. That's
I'm gonna take my 10%, and I'm gonna be like, "What's that? That's $400 off of the $4,000." I'm gonna say $3,600. I'll waive my fee if you buy it today.
If you want to do that, you go for it, man.
But what is today?
Today, when you're listening to this podcast.
Sure. And I actually re-registered and insured the bike. So if you want to ride it until it sells, you go for it, man.
Maybe I'll buy it for $3,600 and waive my fee. Who's going to buy it first? Is it going to be me or is it going to be you? We don't know.
That's right. Maybe we should have a raffle on Dropbear and Panda.
Free motorcycle?
Raffle off Badger's bike. No, right? No, people buy a raffle ticket.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. AGLC might have an issue with it, but I'll work.
I don't know the rules.
And a pair of socks.
Have you won a pair of socks yet?
No, I haven't won a pair of socks, but
What are you going to do to win a pair of socks, Scott?
what do I have to do? What do you need me to do?
My
What do you want me
comment
to do?
earlier was I was gonna give him a pair of socks, but then he complained that he doesn't wear socks.
No. I
That's true.
don't like socks.
Oh my God, he does have freakishly tiny feet.
I know.
His like bare feet are on the coffee table
I
right
know.
now. They're
He could.
tiny.
He could go with.
Hey, look
the,
at those little ankles. It's so cute. Oh my God, how do you walk on those things?
It's like a stork.
You think I fall over a lot? I mean,
Oh my God. Oh,
they're the same size as mine, and
they're
I'm like
still
a foot
pink.
shorter than he is.
There's
and-
like there's no dirt on them. Man, you're like a fetish waiting to happen.
I didn't need to hear that.
That's why he's going to Russia.
Canadian with tiny feet.
Duh.
Tiny feet cam. .ca.
Well, that's episode 47.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Badger.
Do you want to take a picture of my feet to put up on your website?
We don't.
They don't have a macro lens.
We said it's
Ow.
okay. Thanks for tuning in.
How do you say goodbye in Russian?
До свидания.
До свидания.
Oh, those Russians.
Huge thanks to our sponsor, the Friday Sock Company.
This podcast was recorded at the Dropbear and Panda Kensington studio.
Special thanks to Emery Cords for the kick-ass theme music.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Dropbear and Panda, yeah.
It's like a locomotive blowing out on my normal chap out. Dropbear and Panda.